Minister Paul Tasong and the former mayor of Kumondo, Donatus Njong, are in the southwest region of the country today to talk about the presidential plan for the reconstruction and development of the northwest and southwest regions. Minister Paul Tasong and the former mayor of Kumbo, Njong Donatus, were in the northwest region last week for a similar exercise. There have been many questions raised. Is it time for reconstruction when the war is still going on? How are the institutions in place ready to protect the public edifices and the property that's been burned? We have called here in the studio guest, Dr. ARREY Williams Herman, who is expert in governance, peace, conflict resolution and development, is of the Protestant University of Central Africa. Doctor, you're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Doctor, you've followed the presidential plan for the reconstruction and development of the two regions, the arguments that have come propped up since Paul Tasong traveled to the northwest region and to the south, today to the southwest region. What reading are you making of it?
Well, thank you very much. I want to start, first of all, by saying that to me, this is a very important initiative, an initiative from the head of state that is bringing development to the sovereign people of the northwest and southwest regions. Unfortunately, there are lots of polemics around it. Some saying, yeah, it is too early, or how can development be taking place when there is still active of conflict. I want to say that the initiator of this project, which is who is the head of state, I think he understands very well the linkages between peace and development, to say that without sustainable peace, we can have sustainable development, and without sustainable development, we can have sustainable peace. And I am thinking that it's just another way to tackle peace through development. So even though many are saying it's not going to be sustainable, and so I think that we should give development a chance, that kind of development that will contribute towards peace. So to me, I think it is a welcome initiative. And I also strongly believe that the sovereign people of the Northwest and Southwest also certainly welcome this initiative. I think it is very hopeful if it is well done.
The argument some people are giving are those guys who are burning the public edifices, who are burning the hospitals, those guys who are attacking the markets and private homes are still there in the bushes, and they may still continue destroying the bridges and the schools if there's no peace before the reconstruction.
Yes, I get you very well. I think this is really a concern. I think in a situation like this one, for sure, there is need for minimum security, such that the development can even unfold, such that even the workers of this initiative, even the supervisors, can even go out and check the work. But I also want to say that we don't have always to have this pessimistic mindset. You know, we have to see how we can as well move forward. We know that the guys are in the bush, but I think that the government has also put in place other initiatives like the disarmament and so on for these guys to come out. But it appears as if maybe it is taking time. But what is clear is that we cannot keep waiting for development to come. Considering the fact that these people in the Northwest and South are really, really soft, they need this development. We cannot say because these guys are still in the bush, so we are not going to start something, right? We need to move forward. So I understand the concern, but at the same time, I think that the initiative is something to be appreciated.
And do you think there are changes on the field where you see that some areas may be ready to embrace this development without problems? I mean, when you look at what is happening in the field now, in some towns, is there improvement?
Yes, I get you for sure. There is some kind of minimum security around the towns, but still in the remote areas, I think the security situation is not a very good one. But at the same time, I think the project coordinators, they're also talking about starting around areas where there is relative stability or security, while moving bit by bit to these remote areas. I think it's a good way to look at it. It's a good way to look at it.
Doctor, we listened to Paul Tasong, the coordinator of this presidential plan, who has the same views, maybe like you, who is talking about, we cannot stay waiting. But it's enormous property that's been destroyed, and these guys are still with the guns. The question many people are asking is there no way to negotiate a peace deal with these people, or we should consider those enemies at once, and then maybe the military should do it? What?
No, we cannot say that there is no way to negotiate peace with these people. I think that the peace process had already started, the major national dialogue, and to me, this process has to continue. Just like I said, you know, that linkage is between peace and development. Without that development, we cannot even have that peace. So meaning that this development is important. You know, I wouldn't really say that it is going to bring peace to the people. I wouldn't say that. But I'm saying that it is going to reduce at least the level of violence, you know, and facilitate that environment where people can even sit somewhere to talk about peace. So what kind of peace then are we talking about if there is even no way, you know, for people to sit around? Because somebody who is hungry, right, it will be hard for the person to come and be talking about peace. The person first thinks about their stomach. So that is what I'm saying here, that this development, right, is a pathway. It's a pathway to even making it possible to have that environment where the Cameroonians parties can really sit and talk about peace.
Now, you earlier on said this development can start, or reconstruction can start, in areas where there's relative peace in the towns and cities. But where there's most suffering, or where the suffering is the most, is in those villages, in the hinterlands, the backyards of the country.
Yeah, exactly. And at this level, I had a concern, even though we have to start in the cities, but the people who are actually suffering are those in those remote villages. And now, when we see the coordinators are in the Northwest and the Southwest, they are presenting this initiative to the people, right? My concern is how was this initiative even conceived, right? I was thinking that the fact that these people are seriously affected, especially those in the villages and so on, probably we had to start from some kind of empirical research, quantitatively and qualitatively, surveys, you know, large-scale research actually, with a research team in place that has an interdisciplinary background, political science, economics, and so on. So they can actually go to those remote areas, right? Carry out this research, come up with results that are evidence-based, that will then be integrated in this plan, so that when the government officials are then now, they are coming back with what they did with them, the research they did with them, and now they are simply presenting that, okay, based on the research that we carried out, this is the plan we have conceived, so that, you know, the people can own the project. So that is where I have a concern. How was it conceived, or how is it conceived? I very much appreciate the fact that they've gone to sensitize the population, but that is just a kind of a functional participation, maybe to justify one or two things. But it's so important that, you know, we actually have facts. We have the challenges that the people are facing, the priorities, because even talking about development, it means different things to different people. In all of those villages, they have different conceptions about development and different priorities. So that is just...
Okay, you as a peace and development expert, the government says they will construct schools, they will construct hospitals, they will construct... Where do you think the first focus should be? Should it be schools, or should it be those homes, those houses that were destroyed and people are now living in the bushes?
Well, the government has already put forth its own priority. I'm coming back to the fact that, why? We cannot do development for a people without the people. So where do we start? It's a matter of contextualization. We have different villages that have been affected in these two regions, right? So we need to go there. Like I said, maybe it is a bit late, but it's so important that this research is carried out. We get the point of view of these people. What do they consider very pressing at this time? What are their priorities? That is where we start. And as a matter of fact, when we come now with all these priorities and we say, okay, probably in the Southwest or in the Northwest around this area, I think education is the first thing. I think maybe the health sector is the first thing, and so on. We cannot sit in our offices and decide that we are going to start with education. I understand the importance of education, yes. But for some communities, they would rather prefer, like you said, maybe to have their houses built, right, and so on. So I think that is my humble point of view as far as that is concerned.
What language do you think Minister Porter's song and Donatus Jong should be taken to the people now in the field, because the government has taken this decision. The government says there's no way they'll be looking back. They're forging ahead, moving ahead. What language should they use? Both, one, to the people, and secondly, to those guys who are in the bushes?
I think you are talking about language. This is very important. But I have to start by saying, first of all, how do the people see the committee in place, the coordinators? How do the people receive them? So first of all, they have to be received by the beneficiaries of this project. Because why? I think we've had several commissions, go to the Northwest and Southwest and so on. And this is a massive project that is coming to transform, the life of the people.
Over 90 billion CFA francs from the first phase.
Over 90 billion. And so we can see that it is no longer a matter of doing business as usual. So these people, I am sure, they want to see what I would call a kind of useful presence, of the government. Now, through the coordinators, they want to see people that, will even respect their rights, to peace and development, people that can understand their language, like you're saying, and so on. People with that can meet them at the point of their need.
So what language should they be using to those guys, to convince those guys who are in the bushes now that this thing like this you're doing, it's been for long, you're not winning, it's time to come back and talk peace?
Yes, the language that they have to use is language that comes from the people. They don't simply go to talk, but the first thing is that they have to listen to the people. When they listen to the people, right, then they know the kind of language they have to use with these people. So they will not come with the technical language and speak with the people. The people won't understand this. So the first thing is a kind of, yes, a fact-finding mission and so on, but they have to really listen to the point of view of these people. From there, they will know the kind of language, because, we are talking about coordination, not any kind of coordination, not a top-down approach, but we want a kind of bottom-up coordination and programming, right? That would really take into consideration the preferences and the needs of these people, and then integrate it or remodel it in the government's own model of development. So that is the language. The language has to come from the people.
As we're speaking now, there are about thousands who have gone to neighboring countries. There are villages that have been emptied. Do you see this commission going to construct houses in empty villages? Or should it not be, first of all, bringing those people out of their homes?
Well, if we say that bringing the people who are out of their homes, when they bring these people, where are these people going to stay? When they don't have houses, when they don't have schools, when they don't have anything, means of livelihood. So you are taking them now to bring them. Where are you going to keep them? How are they going to survive? So I think that, first of all, let's make the environment attractive to these people who left their various homes, right? We'll build the houses, the livelihoods, and so on. So the people themselves, they will say, well, development has finally come to our place. Things are changing. Maybe we should go back. In that case, the government wouldn't be the ones to go and be convincing them, because they themselves, they've seen the evidence, what the government is doing, and they are developing more trust.
What do you make of the name given this plan, presidential plan? Does it show some seriousness on behalf of the head of state, or he's saying that he is personally implicated in the development of these areas? What do you mean?
Yeah, I think the presidential plan is also to give, that's the importance of this initiative. I think the head of state, following from his various speeches, is someone that has always put the ordinary citizens at the center. Even when he talked about fast-tracking the decentralization process, was actually to give the ordinary man, that's to amplify the voice of the ordinary man in his own development. So I think that the head of state is, again, trying to make us understand that he is interested, in the development of his people. And so this is not a program to mess around with. It's carrying that title of presidential plan. It's not the one we had, I think, in June 2018 of humanitarian emergency response plan of about 12.7 billion. This one is You know, like you said, how many billions?
Over 90 billion for the
Over
first
90
phase.
billion. So it's not something. So I want to say, in fact, I congratulate the coordinators, but at the same time, they should know that they have a challenge because Cameroonians are watching them. The international community is watching them. So we want to see concrete change. You know,
foreign countries are contributing. United Nations Development Program is contributing.
Okay, that's good to know.
Dr. ARREY Williams Eman, expert in governance, peace, conflict resolution, and development from the Protestant University of Central Africa. Thanks very much for being there.
Thank you so much.
It's always a pleasure having you here.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.